Welcome back everyone to the Crypto Rain channel. I'm your host Jay Murph, and today we're going to be looking back all the way to 2017. And the reason we're doing this is because to know what might happen in the future, the more you know about the past, the better guesses you will make. So we're going to be making our best guesses. Now, unfortunately, the last crypto bull run didn't have a lot of tokens coming online with their functionality. So we'll look at some that either had come online or were close to coming online so that we can analyze and see what we can glean and learn from it. So the first thing we're going to step back and look at is our chart on Bitcoin dominance. And we're going to delete this from earlier today. Alright, so 2017, if you can see, Bitcoin completely dominated the market. And what's funny is this correlates a lot with, actually, this with Ethereum that cut into Bitcoin's dominance. Although starting in 2017, its dominance, which was really, really high because Bitcoin was online, most of the altcoins at the time were really just different copies of Bitcoin. And so compared to it, they didn't hold a lot of value. So Ethereum, though, was coming online, which Ethereum was clearly not just a fork of Bitcoin and was what I like to refer to as cryptocurrency version 2.0, and Bitcoin was the version 1.0. So it started to come online about this time. So let's step back and look into the past. So Bitcoin... Now, we're able to look at Poloniex because it has a good history going back all the way to 2015. But this is versus Bitcoin. And so, especially if we're going to be looking at how it did relative to Bitcoin, I thought this would be a better indicator than versus USD. Even though these numbers and Satoshi values isn't going to mean too much, what I want to look at is when it's taking off. And what time in the year. So 2017 here was early 2017. That was a little over 4 years ago. And in February, not a ton was happening. Unlike our January and February, this January and February, there's been a lot of activity around DeFi. And you've seen kind of a resurgence of DeFi after having some major gains last year starting in July, going for a couple months, and then really retracing. Some projects retracing to below what they were at, and some only retracing a percentage of their gains from that DeFi boom. But then starting January 1st, really seen a secondary boom in DeFi and bleeding over into many altcoins, which many have 2, 3, 5, and even 10x'd. So we don't see that 4 years ago directly. Now, they don't correlate exactly to 4 years. And though history often repeats, kind of, it better said rather than repeating it, it's more like it rhymes. And that's more of what we're seeing. So we do see starting in March, Ethereum taking off. And then it goes up. But we're not just going to go off of Ethereum because there probably was some specific project announcements that led to that, although I didn't start collecting myself till about late October, if I'm remembering correctly. So I wasn't following what was going on in the crypto market and specific to this. But this is when Ethereum took off, and we'll see some dominance slipping here. Yeah, see, as Ethereum took off, then Bitcoin's dominance started falling. And there was a couple seesaws here. That Bitcoin lost some massive dominance during April, which we see here going up actually. So it must have been some additional. This is mostly March, and then a little bit in April. So March, yeah, that does account for this, but there must have been some other altcoins really booming. Now, going back to these, these didn't fully come online. XRP, really, its functionality started to come online, although the number of contracts and people who were implementing it was still being negotiated, but it did go through some pretty severe runs. So, yeah, you see, okay, late March, XRP took off, and then it retraced some of those gains, stepped back to here, and then really, really big gains in May. So we'll see that in Bitcoin dominance. bum, bum. March and May. Okay, so that accounts for a big part of these drops too. So both Ethereum, XRP, some of the other coins that really hit in 2017 really hard was XLM and Tron, but you'll see that their massive gains were later in the year. And so there is some gains there in May, but the really big gains started in December. And the same thing for Tron. In fact, Tron, we're only able to see this back to November. So this is probably when it started trading. So really it didn't experience its gains till December. And really right at the beginning of January, it absolutely took off. So going back to here, we saw that explains some of this during April and May. And then July, a big drop in Bitcoin dominance, and then a really huge drop here. Now this was after Bitcoin topped out at its high for that time period. At the time it was the all-time high, and then it lost a lot of market share during January to not only Ethereum, XRP, XLM, Tron, but also like Cardano and a lot of other projects like IOTA and others that really, really boomed early, like late November all the way through early January, before many of those stepping back and retracing quite a bit. There were some projects that then came online as far as being tradable on the markets, and then saw some gains, and then most of them retraced quite a bit from that. Projects like Chain and other things that were hotly followed ICOs when they became tradable, then a lot of that stuff then later retraced later that year and into the following year. So why do I look at this? Well, because I'm trying to figure out as best I can what this year might look like. Because it doesn't really repeat, but it does rhyme. Trying to get a glimpse into the future, right? So that we can understand what Bitcoin dominance is most likely going to do. Is it going to follow the head and shoulders pattern that we've talked about a lot? Which looks, let's see if we can get a smaller time frame. Look at all this volume going on, but is it going to follow this head and shoulders pattern that it seemed to be on? And, well, that's probably high. But will it look like that, meaning that Bitcoin is going to take a run while a lot of the alts cool off? Or are the alts going to keep running? Many of these taking some big increases as DeFi is not only coming online, but diversifying. A lot of it's going towards Binance Smart Chain, a little bit towards Chain, a lot looking at Polkadot, and a lot also looking at Cardano, as Dot's mainnet will come online in the future, as well as Cardano, with not only it coming online for DeFi, but also the Ethereum bridge that many of the projects on Ethereum might be looking at to get some relief from those high gas fees. So here we are. Let's look a little bit at, one of my favorites in all time. See, this is Cardano, and this is its market cap. So it's not going to give us the specific price, but the market cap. And we can see that it boomed in December, following by it hitting its all-time high early January. So what is that likely to look like here? So we are seeing already in February, it's had some really big gains, followed by some retracement, right? I mean, those are some massive green candles. Of course it's going to retrace, and likely it retraced all the way to here. If we were to draw this out using the Fibonacci retracement, it retraced to the 50% mark, but it may have even more retraces before it continues up. Straight up is really hard to understand and not sustainable, and so it's always good when there's a cooling off period and a further accumulation before it then continues to move up. And even in the bull market of 2017, we saw a lot of that. I don't see why this year should be any different. What I'm trying to figure out for myself is are we likely to see a few massive runs? Let's go back to, I want to look at Ethereum, but let's look at a really good DeFi coin. Let's look at Aave versus BTC. And we're really looking at this because we want to look at this past year, and specifically we want to look at this. So July, Aave started to take off, but a lot of the coins really didn't start to take off till after Aave was already going a little bit crazy here. But you see the retracement was pretty significant. So there was this DeFi bull run here. A secondary DeFi bull run starting right at the beginning of January. And so Aave hit much higher than it did here, and now is going through some retracement. What I'm trying to make my best guesses are, this year, I expect near the end of the year we'll probably see a massive, massive run. What I'm trying to guess best for myself and my own investment is how big might the retracement be on some of these DeFi gains, and is there maybe going to be a secondary run before then the really big run? So part of the reason DeFi is really hitting so big, number one, I think the weakening US dollar, because it's being printed so crazy, that it's opening up a lot of interest in DeFi, not only to investors but to institutions, as well as people are really starting to understand why smart contracts are so powerful. And so we're seeing really DeFi come into existence and really take shape, and it's being explored by a number of projects, and many ideas are being explored at the same time. So we saw a massive run here, some retracement. Will we see further retracement, or are we going to see further retracement and then another major run and then some retracement before we see likely the massive gains that will follow Bitcoin topping off? Now, if we do look at Bitcoin, which is one of our best indicators, but let's go to this. Let's put in BTC. You know, let's put in Brave, new coin. Yeah, this has a long history on it. That's what I like about it. So it hit its all-time highs right around December and then fell off while during this period till early January, altcoins went absolutely mad wild. And so my guess is, so we hit about 42,000 here according to this, and then retracing, I think it actually hit higher. And so now we're almost to 50,000. In fact, it went just under that. And so is there going to be some retracement before a further push? And if so, that gives us an idea that altcoins will likely scale back as Bitcoin really pushes forward. And then once Bitcoin then tops off and starts trading sideways or a retracement, we might get another altcoin push. So probably we have a couple of these to look forward to during the year. That's my best guess. So I just wanted to walk you through what I'm looking at, keeping in mind, of course, covered a lot of projects, and most of those projects, you know, have done very well during the previous or the past 2 months, and even some of those that were doing nothing back when I covered them. But the truth is, we've had a rising tide, so it's not surprising that it's not like I'm magic. I did pick, you know, I like to think my analysis is good, but in this environment, most everything has increased. So I wouldn't say it was like genius level. I'd just say that, you know, it was just sound fundamental analysis, and you know, makes me look like I'm magic just because everything's been going up. Overall, this year we have a lot to look forward to, and I don't see why we won't have an extremely good year. Congratulations to all of you who are here and in the right place and positioning yourself right, because yeah, I expect this year is going to really rain some massive gains down on us, and you're positioned in the right place at the right time. Exciting to have this all happen. Hope that's helpful, guys. I appreciate all your suggestions. Those of you who are suggesting not only a coin that you like, but you're telling me what you like about it. Because if you send me something that you really like and you tell me what you like about it and what the market cap is, I will at least take a look at it myself. Whether or not I review it really has to do with what I think about the project, but I will at least take a look at that, and usually I'll shoot you a response, give you my thoughts, and yeah, at a minimum do that. Now, many of the projects I reviewed over the past 5 weeks have come from the viewers. Now, some were ones that I was already interested in, and was going to cover anyway, and some of them were not even on my radar at all. So thank you so much. Also, I want to update you. I did reach out to the ORN team. I know the subscribers have grown tremendously, and at 3,000 subscribers, a little over 3,000, can start to get their attention. You know, as you know, if you've been tuning into the channel, the reason I finally started this channel was because I was tired of the developers not getting back to me with my questions. And so I knew that I had to create good enough content to be able to attract you to subscribe to the channel, so that then I could go to those team members and ask them questions, not only for me, but to get you better information. And so one of the ones I want to have a deeper look at on the tokenomics, their token burn, as well as their total circulating supply, is ORN. Very interested in that project, and Thorchain as well. But ORN, I reached out to the team, and we'll see if they respond to me. Hopefully they do, because I have a lot of questions for them, and if they answer those questions well and I continue to be interested in them, I'd love to do an AMA with them. I did go ahead and make a purchase of ORN. It didn't pull back to where I was happy or loving it with, but, I mean, let's take a quick look at it. ORN BATC. Oh. So really just a little bit of a pullback. I didn't love paying those prices for it, but heck, versus Bitcoin, a lot better than paying these prices, right? So overall, exciting project. I think they've got a ways to go. Their market cap still relatively low, although their token supply versus their potential supply is still of a concern. So that's why that's what some of the questions I have into the team are all about. And if they answer those well, I'll probably be picking up some more, as well as giving you the details on what their answers were. And if you guys are interested at that point, we will do an AMA with them. All right, thanks so much for joining me. Again, I'm J Murph with the Crypto Rain channel, and thanks for joining us. Bye.